When it comes to hatching issues, okay, we're talking wry neck, we're talking splayed leg, we're talking sticky chicks, we're talking chicks hatching late, we're talking chicks developing, making it to lockdown, and then not hatching. All of those things are very likely due to incubator issues, problems with temperature or humidity, or sometimes they can be due to just defects that happened in the shipping process. None of those issues are usually have anything to do with the breeder or the parent stock or anything that the breeder could have affected. I actually had a woman reach out to me earlier this year. She had hatched some chicks out of my Isabel Americana flock. Well, they didn't hatch. There was a couple chicks that made it to lockdown and they didn't hatch, and she cracked open the egg and she found these like horribly disfigured chicks. Like there was clearly a reason that they did not hatch, and she sent me these pictures and she's like, oh my God, what's going on? And honestly, when I first received those pictures, I was like mortified, like, oh my God, what's going on here? But then I realized, like, if there is an issue, like a vitamin deficiency issue, if there for some reason is like deformities popping up in a flock, it's not going to happen in one hatch. We're going to see it across multiple hatches. I would have been seeing it in my hatches. I would have been getting more reports from just one singular hatch. And the other thing about that particular hatch is the eggs were lost. Well, they took a little longer than they should have to arrive. It was early in the year when it was still cold outside. The post office had delivered them to her doorstep instead of holding them at the post office. So they were outside for several hours. They could have froze. Needless to say, there was other factors that likely contributed to what went wonky with those eggs. And because it wasn't anything that I had ever seen before, and I have been hatching regularly all year, again, more than likely, splayed leg, wry neck, those things are usually caused by some kind of a vitamin deficiency. Oftentimes it happens in hatches when there's issues with temp and humidity and the chick, for whatever reason, didn't fully absorb all of the nutrients before they hatch. Splayed leg sometimes can have to do with like their footing, like they can't get a firm and they just kind of like slip a tendon. Early hatching oftentimes has to do with the temperature being slightly too high. Although like in these summer months, like sometimes honestly, eggs can begin to develop in transit, which is why I suggest to people this time of year that we put our eggs like directly into the incubator. Do not stop and pass go, like no rest times in the summer. Just put them right in the incubator, pointy side down, egg turner off. Chicks hatching late, a couple days after your hatch date, could be a sign of a temperature that's slightly too low, maybe delayed development for whatever reason. Sometimes in beloved trusted incubators that we've been using for many hatches, sometimes something just goes on in there and they no longer hold heat consistently throughout the whole incubator. So you'll have hot spots and cool spots. You know, those farm innovators, the foam incubators are like notorious for that. Inconsistent or improper humidity issues can cause a plethora of problems as well. They can cause sticky chicks, they can cause drowned chicks, they can cause air cells that are too small so that when the chicks pip internally, they don't have enough air to breathe until they pip externally, and then they suffocate. These are chicks that would make it all the way to lockdown and then not hatch. And listen, I could go on and on about potential things that could happen that make a hatch go awry and the potential causes, but the reality is that sometimes hatches just don't go the way that we want them to. And when you add the shipping process on top of that, it means even more so that there's even more variables to things that could go wrong during a hatch, most of which don't have to do with the breeder. The flip side to this is that I do get a lot of messages from y'all when you hatch eggs letting me know how they go, and I'm totally fine with the feedback, and I'm also totally willing to help troubleshoot potential issues that could have gone wrong with the hatch to hopefully help with future hatches. Anyway, hope this helps.